Good evening. My name is Diana Simpson, and this is my first podcast. While working through reading the articles and watching the videos and creating this podcast, I found that the objectives accomplished for this class were contributing to the development, communication, and implementation of a shared vision for the comprehensive use of a technology to support a digital age education for all students, contribute to the planning, development, communication, implementation, and evaluation of technology-infused strategic plans at the district and school levels, and model and facilitate safe, healthy, legal, and ethical uses of digital information and technologies were all accomplished during this activity. There were 5 required readings and 2 that were optional. I was not able to open one of them. It was the one regarding the school mindfulness and faculty trust. But the teacher professionalism article, I felt like probably covered some of what was there. The first article spoke of trust and organizational commitment, and the article gave many meanings and or thoughts about trust, some of which include trust being the continuous learning practices that drive human performance. And I felt like as soon as I read that, I immediately thought about us as educators and most of us as having some sort of technology background and maybe even instructional technology integrationist or technology teacher that work with teachers on professional development, that we need to provide ongoing and purposeful professional development to our teachers to better equip them for the technology that is available to them and their learners or students. The level of interpersonal trust is a fundamental component in developing a dynamic learning organization structure, and that trust is highly beneficial to the effective functioning of the organization. Obviously, trust is a huge component to have a effective environment. It also has an indirect effect on purpose or performance levels within the organization. The second main topic was organizational commitment, which was defined as the relative strength of an individual's linkage to an organization, and empowered employees believe in and care about what they do, and their activity is aligned with their value system. With that, employees are more engaged, they're more energized, and they're more motivated to do their job. I'm currently at a rather new school, and the advantage to that is, with us being a new school, this is our second year, those coming to us as teachers, me included, we knew exactly from the start that we were different, so to speak, and that you knew what you were going to be doing and kind of what you were getting into before you ever applied to work at this school. So it's not like working for somewhere for 5 or 10 years and then now here's this technology you're not familiar with, and this is getting thrown into your classroom, and you may be a little leery or not sure because you're not familiar with it to be able to use it with your children or your learners. Our school, being a lead learner, there's a strong belief in and acceptance of our organizational goals and values because we knew what those were up front, and many of us sought out this school to work at because we agreed with the values and the goals of our school. I feel like leaders should make sure that we're transparent about how we run our school, so those coming in are aware and willing to join the team and be committed to the type of learning that we do. The next article researched was on social capital, and it was defined as a kind of capital that draws benefits from social relation. Many studies equated it to back to trust. And so I felt like trust came up several times within many of these articles. Social capital as a whole exhibited a significant positive effect on morale later, and that statement came from a study in the article using a sample of Japanese residents from several cities. A way to boost morale through social capital in our school is to ask lead learners' input when purchasing devices and implementing new technologies. I know in my current grade that I'm teaching, we were asked, hey, you guys have one-to-one MacBooks this year. How's that going? Is there something we could do different next year? And so we're thinking, hey, maybe we should do like third grade and have one-to-one iPads, but offer keyboards and other things to go along with the iPads to make it a little more functional for fourth grade. And maybe not get the MacBooks until fifth grade, as we've seen kids drop them. They just aren't very careful with them and they take them home. And so with that, our input was asked, so we're able to kind of know where we're headed next year potentially. It also goes back to trust and commitment. We need to provide a plethora of resources and support no matter what technology we choose. And I feel like our tech people are doing a really good job of providing us with those things, and even talking about this new technology or not necessarily new, but different technology for next year. It's just February, and here we are talking and thinking of August. My school embraces failure and growing from it. So we want to foster a love for lifelong learning, especially to those who may be reluctant to change, or maybe someone who's fearful of things they're not familiar with. And that could be that teacher that's taught for 5 or 10 years, and here is this MacBook, and you're supposed to be able to utilize this in your classroom, and you may not even hardly know how to turn it on, type of thing. And it's okay not to know, as long as we are willing to learn and grow. The next article was about collective efficacy, and it was described by Bandura as the belief in one's capacity to organize and execute the courses of action required to produce given attainment. So in the past 2 decades, researchers have found links between student achievement and self-efficacy judgments of students, the teachers' beliefs in their own instructional efficacy, and teachers' beliefs about the collective efficacy of the school as a whole. So the efficacy judgments are beliefs about individual or group capabilities, though not necessarily accurate assessments of those capabilities. Lastly, we have teacher professionalism, and that was a big article to me and kind of hit home with what I do and kind of how we work at my school. For schools to foster greater teacher professionalism, the school leaders would do a better job to resist adopting a bureaucratic orientation. They better be served by exercising their administrative authority with a professional orientation. Excuse me. Extending adaptive discretion to teachers in the conduct of their work, and adopting practices that lead to strong trust among the school leaders, the teachers, the students, and the parents. And so that's something that I think is really amazing at our school. Is our school puts a lot of trust into us as lead learners, and it has been amazing working at this particular school because of the flexibility we have. We don't have a bell system. The only set times throughout our day that we have are our specials. So like when our children have drama, music, Chinese, PE, and band, that's set in stone each day during a certain time. And then our lunchtime is obviously set in stone, so everyone's not in the lunchroom at the same time. And then our recess times due to limitations on the playground. But besides that, we have the flexibility throughout our day to, if we need to keep our class one day for 2 hours longer because we're working on a project, well, you're able to do that working with whatever lead learners that you are paired with. So it's very flexible. We're able to make our own decisions in regards to how we teach the standards. All of our projects are designed. We have a driving question that we come up with our learners, and the learners design their own projects. And each day we strive to be the best version of ourselves that we can be. And we don't have textbooks, so we are really just on our own as to how we would like to teach the standard. And we don't have actual grades. We are a standards-based, project-based learning school, and so everything is standards-based. So as long as they're meeting the standard, if they don't meet the standard, then they're able to go back and reassess, rework it, reassess, and keep going until they've mastered or are meeting the expectation for that standard. And in conclusion, I found that most all of the articles came back to trust and that commitment, which played a role in the trust, having that commitment. And trust is a big one within your school system, and just that leadership and administration having the trust and faith in you that you can do the job and teach these kids what they need to know was kind of what I got from this.